Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. You know what that means. We bring back Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because both you and I are helping students and mentoring folks. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you this morning is how do you help people realize they need to take more control or maybe ownership? I'm not really sure what word you want to put on it, but I don't see enough ownership of choice. I see a lot of blaming of outside forces, blaming of this, blaming of that group. And I just want to tell people, you know what? Your number one issue most of the time is a spending problem. And that's a personal choice, not who's president, not who's your state governor, not who's even your local mayor. It's what are you doing inside your four walls? How are you getting a little bit better every day? There's just so much blaming and not enough ownership. And I wanted to see if you felt the same way.
100%, Michael. And I
Oh,
was just
God.
talking to one of my students this morning about, how are we feeling? How are you doing? And don't forget that no matter what happens today with the election, your goals are still your same goals. What you want for your family, what you want for your financial future, they're the same. Those things don't change. And so while we're all going to be a little emotional, no matter what happens, whether that's, on cloud nine or down in the dumps, we can't let outside forces, too long take our minds off of the fact that we have a life we've decided that we want to live. We talk a lot about living your life by design. You have a big
Mm.
why. This is what we're trying to create. We want financial freedom. We want to give back to others. How are we going to do that? And those things don't change based upon who the president is, based on what policies you think are going to happen. So we still are in a free country where we have the right and the ability to create wealth, create generational wealth, make an impact, and we can continue to do that today. I don't want to, have people say, we're going towards socialism, so I give up. I'm not
Mm.
going to buy any more property. Well, what if that takes 40, 50, 60 years? Or in 4 years, people say, hey, this is too scary, and they go back the other way. If
Exactly.
we stop living our lives and seeking our goals because of the fears of the unknown, fear will paralyze us and stop us in our tracks. And we've got to make sure that we don't get in that over analyzing future, apocalypse
Yeah.
and quit moving forward doing what we need to do or blame other people. To your point, there's been so much division, and it's so sad. It's the saddest thing about 2020 to me is really not just all the things that have been difficult for us, but the division. I used to be able to sit with someone who I'm a Christian. I have friends that are Muslim, who are atheist, who are Hindu. I have friends who are completely opposite, politically than I am. And we can still go have breakfast, have coffee, have fun. We might talk about those issues, but we agree civilly that we don't agree, but that's okay. I love you anyway. And
Right.
so if we're caught up in this division and we let it fester inside of us and get angry at the other side, and we spend too much time on Facebook reading what people think and blame them if my property taxes go up, or blame, everybody that didn't vote the way I did if my 1031s go away. I'm not helping myself or my family or anybody else. So let's take control of what we can take control of, keep sight of what's important to us, and make a decision that we're moving forward and nobody is to blame for our success or failure but ourselves.
Yeah. One of the things that I've seen, and maybe I want to hope it was just election specific, like the last 60 days, the trend was bad, right? I saw more and more people be absorbed into this almost black hole of, I don't know, negativity or, it's just like they're wrong and I'm right mentality. And
Yes.
that's dangerous. That's dangerous as an investor. Anytime you get too focused on your view and you don't acknowledge that you could be wrong or half right, you can make very dangerous decisions. And we're talking tens, if not hundreds, if not millions of dollars, right? We're playing in real estate. We're not talking, pieces of candy here.
That's a really good point, Michael. I didn't really think of it this way, but we talk about what's one of the things that's really helped us in real estate, and that's our network. And it's having mentors, it's having people that have wisdom that they can share with us. And if we as a society get to where we think we're right, they're wrong, we have nothing to learn, I don't want to deal with this person, hear from this person because of who they voted for, we lose out on the rich wisdom and sharing of ideas and things that will help us to do better as people and with our finances as an investors because of a political ideology difference. It's just silly. So we're not only shooting our neighbor in the foot, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we can't see the beauty of diversity in age, in religions, in genders, and wealth gaps. I mean, we all have something different to bring to the table, and we need each other, and we're better when we continue to work together despite our differences.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that I've seen really fall apart. And I'm going to hope it was the election. I hope that once we flip the coin, it comes back. But I really saw personal ownership disappear, right? Everybody, not everybody, but too many people were going, I'm not succeeding because of that person or that group or that thing. And that drives me crazy. One of the things that I will never give up is I'm in my situation because of my choices, right? Someone around me may be impacting it, maybe, shaving it or increasing it slightly, but I own this whole it's their problem. It's this evil of, group out there that's pulling on these strings. I freaking hate that mindset. I am like, no, I own my decisions. I make my success and I make my failures. I'm not going to blame someone else. I'm not going to lose focus. I just want to be a little bit better every day. And then nobody
Yeah.
can take that away from me. Where's freedom of choice? Why is there some big Uber group out there of 10 people pulling on the strings and stuff is happening? I just can't stand that.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, even if there is gerrymandering going around,
Mhm.
even if there's things that are happening that are unjust and unfair. And
Sure.
here's the reality. I tell my kids all the time that's not fair. He got this, I didn't get this. I'm like, life is not
Not
fair.
fair.
Life is not about fairness and equality in every single thing. And it never has been and it never will be.
Right.
And that's not to be uncompassionate. We need to care about people and we need to be generous people. But I am not owed anything
Nope.
and I don't deserve anything more than anybody else. So in our country, it's what am I going to do and what am I going to earn and how am I going to use the talents that God's given me to move myself forward. And I was talking to one of my students and one of my kiddos the other day, and there's a proverb, and regardless of what your religion you are, I want you. The proverb is very interesting. So it's in the Bible, and it's the parable of the talents. And so
Mhm.
there's this master that gives a talent, which is like a coin, it's money, to his servants, and one of them takes that talent and says, "I'm afraid of what's going to happen if I don't bury this. Somebody's going to come and steal my master's money, and then." They're not going to take it. So he felt like he was a wise servant, just burying that talent in the ground, basically putting the money under the mattress, not doing anything with it. And another one went and got this talent, was like, man, my master would be so happy if I went and doubled my money. So he went and used it and made money, and then he returned double. And the other one went and they used the resources they had and they made it grow. And the master came back and like really chastise the one that buried it. And he's like, what's the problem? I was afraid that the crows would come or the robbers would come and steal it. And I buried it for you. And he was chastised that that was a very unwise thing to do because he didn't use the skills that he had and the wisdom he had to make it play with our money today. Am I going to go, I'm afraid of socialism. I'm afraid of all these things that are going to happen. And I'm going to blame all these people. And because of them, I can't become a wealthy investor because there's going to be more eviction moratoriums and more tax increases and my wealth is going to disappear. So they're going to bury that talent, stick it under the mattress and keep moving forward because they have excuses.
Right.
So what do I want to do? I don't want to do that. I want to use the skills and the opportunity and the network and the gifts that God's given me to go say, how can I continue despite the fears of who can come steal it away or what might happen in the future, and do what I can with what I have now and multiply it to move forward toward my dreams and to work being able to impact more people because of the wealth I create. So I
Yeah.
think that's just kind of a good parable to kind of summarize this.
Yeah.
We're in control of what we do and what we make, despite what's going on around us.
I love that parable. I've followed that. It's one of those ones you go back on and you just have to appreciate time and time again. The one phrase I do want to go back to because it's one that when I hear it, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like there's not many phrases, but when I hear this, it's one of my triggers, and that is I deserve.
Yeah.
I deserve. Who said? Where's that written that I deserve? Whether that's a tenant that deserves free rent, which I hear all the time, I deserve.
Or your
Whether that's
kids.
yeah, your kids, yeah. Well, mine's 29 now, almost 30. So she doesn't say that very much anymore, if ever. But yes, I just, that is a mindset that is, to me, anti-growth. It means you've given up, and I hate giving up. I came from nothing, and
Yeah.
if you would have looked at me at, I don't know, 18 or 19, I was married at 19, right, barely 19. You would have looked at me at that point. You would have said, no chance. He's done. He's in the rat. He is going nowhere. And it's because I don't believe I deserve anything. I I've had multiple jobs at one time. I've had to make hard choices. I've I've been uncomfortable. And that is, I mean, that is like the phrase that just sets me off. When I hear somebody say I deserve, I'm like, where's that written down? Because I missed it.
Right, right. And I think that I deserve mentality is what makes people say, well, I deserve this. And since I don't have it, who can I blame and whose fault it is? Instead
Exactly.
of, I wish that I had these things. This is what I aspire to. I'm not there, but how can I take my time, skills, network, resources and get closer to where I want to be? And that, the first mindset's going to keep you paralyzed and playing a blame game and never getting out of where you are that you don't want to be. And the second says, I may not deserve this. Sure, I want it. And I'm as good as anybody else that can get it. But what am I going to do to get to the point
Yeah.
that I reap the rewards of what I'm putting in rather than expect it to just come to me?
Yeah. I want is okay. It's the I deserve, defeatist, give it to me mentality that is, oh,
Right.
that just
Right.
hurts. So, any
Yeah.
closing comments on this for round number two?
Yeah, I think just, take control of your own destiny, your own life. The election and who's in office doesn't change things. And listen, you've been through it. We've been through hard things in our
Oh,
country.
yeah.
We've gone through 9/11. We've gone through wars. We've gone through depressions, well, the Great Recession, maybe a depression and a pandemic. And life keeps going on. And, if we stop and we say the sky is falling and life is over because of a political party, we're missing the boat. We've got a long time ahead, and what we do with the challenges that we're given is what creates the grit and the perseverance and the wisdom to keep us moving forward and stronger tomorrow despite what we're facing today. So just stick with it.
And with that, folks, now you know why Anna Kelly is one of our experts every Wednesday. That was well said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.